High above the earth, where the wind rolled in long waves across the sky and the clouds drifted like white islands, lived a flock of wild geese. They were strong birds, sleek, silver-feathered swimmers of the air, who lived by one powerful rule that had been passed down from every generation before them: only by staying together can we survive. And for many years, through many migrations and countless storms, the geese had stayed true to that rule. They flew in their wide V-shaped formation, cutting through the sky with perfect rhythm, trusting one another completely. Among these birds lived the oldest and wisest goose of them all, an elder known simply as the leader. His wings were marked with streaks of winter grey, but his eyes still shone bright as river water. Whenever the geese faced danger, it was the leader whose voice guided them, whose strength helped them survive when the wind was too strong or the air too thin. All the birds respected him deeply, and whenever he spoke, the flock listened. One peaceful morning, as sunlight spilled across the treetops and the forest below buzzed with life, the geese gathered near the edge of a vast lake. It was migration season, and soon they would take to the skies again. But before they could begin their long journey, they needed to rest and gather strength. The lake was quiet, the air was warm, and the geese felt safe, until a small crow landed on a branch nearby, watching them with bright, mischievous eyes. Now this crow was no ordinary bird. His name was Callow, and he was known throughout the forest for being clever, cunning, and full of tricks. He spoke quickly, laughed loudly, and took great pleasure in causing trouble for others, especially if it amused him. And as Callow watched the geese preen their feathers and stretch their wings, a wicked smile crept across his beak. He had discovered something earlier that morning. A hunter had arrived in the forest. The man was skilled, silent, and carried a long net woven from strong rope. He had set up camp not far from the lake, waiting patiently for the perfect catch. And Callow, who found great amusement in chaos, saw an opportunity to stir trouble. The crow hopped closer to the geese. "Good morning, my feathered friends," he called out, his voice sharp and cheerful. A beautiful day, isn't it? Perfect for flying or getting caught." Some of the younger geese ruffled their feathers irritably. They did not trust the crow, but the leader, calm and patient, turned toward him. "What brings you here, Callow?" he asked evenly. "Surely not your kindness." Callow cackled. "Oh, you warned me, old one. I only came to deliver a friendly warning. A hunter is nearby. He set a trap in the tall grass, right where you usually land after practice flights. I saw him with my own eyes." The geese gasped. "A hunter, here." But before panic could spread, the leader raised one wing, signaling them to stay calm. "Thank you for your warning," he said. "We will be careful." Callow tilted his head. "Careful? Oh, you will need more than careful. That hunter is patient. He may wait days for the perfect catch. Perhaps if you geese were smarter, you'd fly away at once." The leader narrowed his eyes, sensing something hidden behind the crow's smile. "We will discuss it," he replied curtly. Callow shrugged with exaggerated innocence. "Suit yourselves," he said. "But remember, when the net falls, it falls on everyone." And with a flutter of black wings, he flew away cackling, leaving the geese unsettled. For a while, the flock buzzed with fear. Some of the younger geese argued that they should leave immediately. Others wanted to stay but avoid the area where the hunter lurked. A few even wondered if the crow was lying just to scare them. The flock began to divide, their voices rising in confusion, but the leader knew that panic was an enemy far more dangerous than any hunter. He stepped onto a smooth rock, spread his wings wide, and called out for silence. Slowly the voices quieted. "We must stay calm and stay together," he said. "Whether or not the crow speaks truth, we cannot let fear divide us. We will fly high today, and I will inspect the area myself from above. If the hunter is there, we will change our landing ground. But we will not act foolishly." The flock agreed, reassured by the leader's wisdom, and so they took to the sky in their familiar formation. The leader flew at the front, cutting through the air, while the younger geese flapped energetically behind him. The world below looked peaceful. Sunlit trees, rippling water, and long fields stretching toward the horizon. But when they circled back toward the lake, the leader spotted something near the tall grass, a man lying still, half hidden, with a large net beside him. The crow had spoken the truth. The leader signaled sharply, and the flock swerved away from the danger zone. When they reached a safe clearing near the lake's far end, they landed and gathered in a tight circle. "The hunter is real," the leader announced. "We will not go near that side of the lake. From this point on, we will fly from this clearing instead." The geese nodded, relieved. But the crow, perched high in a distant tree, was deeply disappointed. He had expected confusion, chaos, perhaps even a disaster. Instead, the geese had listened to their leader and avoided the trap. Callow clicked his tongue in irritation. "Well," he muttered, "they spoiled the fun." But the mischievous crow was not one to give up easily. That very night, while the geese slept peacefully under the moonlit sky, Callow flew silently to the hunter's camp. The man was snoring softly, exhausted from waiting all day. The crow tiptoed around the campfire and examined the net. It was large, strong, and spread neatly across wooden pegs hammered into the earth. A wicked idea lit up his eyes. "If the geese won't fall into the trap," he whispered, "I shall take the trap to the geese." With a few quick tugs and some clever maneuvering, he loosened the pegs and dragged the net toward the clearing where the geese slept. It was difficult work. He had to stop often to rest, but his excitement kept him going. Finally, he spread the net across the ground near the clearing and loosely disguised it with leaves and grass. Morning came slowly, with soft golden light brushing across the water. The geese awoke, stretching their wings and preparing for another practice flight. The leader called them together. "Today we will fly only a short distance," he said. "We must conserve strength before the long migration." The younger geese bounded forward eagerly, flapping their wings and running toward the clearing. Just as they moved across the grass, one of them cried out, "Oh, my foot is stuck!" Another goose stumbled, then a third. Suddenly the ground erupted upward as the hidden net pulled tight. The geese were trapped. They squawked in terror, flapping uselessly against the strong ropes. The more they struggled, the tighter the net became. Panic spread like wildfire. The younger geese shrieked and beat their wings, kicking up dust and feathers. Only the leader remained calm, though his eyes glimmered with worry. He tugged at the ropes around his wings and saw how tightly they held. Just then the crow swooped down, laughing wildly. "Oh my, oh my. What an unexpected accident," he cackled. "How clumsy you geese are, stepping right into a trap. I warned you, didn't I?" The leader glared at him. "I did this," he said quietly. "You moved the net." "Why?" Callow tilted his head as if surprised. "Why?" he echoed. "Because I enjoy entertainment. And watching all of you struggle is the finest entertainment in the forest." Some of the geese hissed angrily. Others cried out in fear. The crow only laughed hard. But before he could continue, a distant crunch of leaves announced the arrival of the hunter. He had awakened to find his net missing and had followed the trail straight to the clearing. The geese froze in terror. The leader knew that once the hunter reached them, their fate would be sealed. They had only one chance, one last hope. "Listen to me," he said urgently, his voice steady and commanding. "We must act together. If we flap our wings at the same time, every one of us, we can lift this net into the air." The younger geese were bewildered. "Lift it, but it's too heavy." "Not for one," the leader said firmly, "but for all. Our strength lies in unity. If we act as one, the net cannot hold us." There was no time to argue. The hunter was drawing closer, his heavy boots pounding on the ground. The leader spread his wings as far as the ropes allowed. "On my signal," he said, 1, 2, 3. All at once the geese flapped their wings, pushing downward with every ounce of strength in their bodies. The net trembled. Dust rose around them. The ropes strained. "Again," the leader cried. They flapped harder, fast. Their wings moved like a single pair of mighty lungs. The net quivered, then slowly, very slowly began to rise. The crow stared in shock. What is this?" he squawked. The geese flapped again, and with a sudden burst of power, the entire net lifted off the ground, carried upward by the united strength of the flock. The hunter burst into the clearing just in time to see his precious catch rising into the sky like a giant flying basket. His jaw dropped in disbelief. He tried to grab the ropes, but the net was already too high. He shouted helplessly as the geese carried it into the air, climbing higher and higher. Callow panicked. "Hey, stop, come back," he cried, but the geese soared far above him, ignoring his frantic screams. Once they were high enough to be safe, the leader gave the next command. "Toward the sharp rocks," he said. The geese veered toward a ridge of jagged stones near the lake's northern edge. The wind whipped against the net as they flew closer. "And now, dropping formation," the leader called. In perfect unison they angled their wings downward. The net smashed against the rocks, tearing open instantly. The geese burst free in a cloud of feathers, scattering across the sky like silver sparks. They flew back to the lake and landed safely on the soft grass, exhausted, trembling, but alive. One by one, they gathered around the leader, their hearts full of gratitude. He looked at them with pride. "We survived," he said softly, "because we acted together." Far away, the crow perched in silence, staring at the torn net and the distant. He had tried to destroy them, but their unity had defeated even his cunning. The lesson was clear, and for generations afterward, whenever young geese asked how their ancestors escaped the great hunter of the lake, the elders would tell the story of how strength alone was not enough, how only by standing together could the flock rise above danger. And so every migration season, every storm, every journey across the endless sky reminded them of the truth. Unity is power, and together they could survive anything.